Hey, Coach Q here, and today I want to talk about one of my favorite subjects. Any of my clients will tell you that I am always preaching boundaries. If you constantly feel taken advantage of, check your boundaries. If you constantly feel pressured to do or say the right thing, check your boundaries. If you're quick to label somebody toxic but fail to adjust your response, check your boundaries. That's right. You have so much more control than you're probably exercising. And because we have so many different standards of acceptable behavior, sometimes we just don't mesh well. So, boundaries is how you choose what is allowed behavior in your world. But be careful. Contrary to popular opinion, boundaries are not about forcing people to adhere to your standards of what's acceptable. It's not about punishing people for pushing your buttons either. Boundaries help you maintain your inner peace by allowing you to choose how you will respond, whether or not you will continue to engage with that person or sever ties completely in your relationships. Now, let's be clear. The real reason why we struggle to set boundaries in relationships with people that we love or care about is because we think that by setting these boundaries, it will either change or completely destroy the relationship. So, learning to set new boundaries takes time. If you've been struggling with this for years, give yourself time to slowly implement setting healthy boundaries. It takes time to change the behavior that you've had with someone for so long. In fact, in my online course, Bounce Back Queen, setting healthy boundaries is the very last module. And that is because it takes so much inner work first to give yourself permission to outgrow the old version of yourself. So today I'm going to help you by explaining the four types of boundaries that you should have in your life that will help you to maintain your inner peace. So let's get started. The first one, as with anything in life, starts with you. It starts with your inner or internal boundaries. And these are the messages or mantras, your inner voice that reminds you to check in with yourself, with your mind, your body, and your spirit. It reminds you to take care of yourself, to stay grounded and reconnect with what helps you be at your best, whether that is getting a good night's rest, going for a daily walk, engaging in some creativity, exercising so that you can release anger, frustration, and stress. These are the things that help you maintain an inner peace. Now, you may be thinking, how is that a boundary? Well, that's because once you learn to set internal boundaries, practicing mindfulness, staying in tune with yourself will help you to set boundaries outside of yourself. Now, let's go on to the next type of boundary. Number two is the external boundary. These are the outer parameters that we put in place to limit or intercept someone from displaying behavior that you've already determined is unacceptable. I like to use the example of my mother, and I don't think she's the only one. I think it's a universal mother look that, when your mother gives you that look, like, I told you not to do that. That is a universal example of an external boundary, the look. It's something that you've previously communicated with someone that will give them the clue or the signal that you're getting too close to my boundary. The next boundary is the proactive boundary. A proactive boundary is a step or a person or tool that you put in place in anticipation of a trigger. It could be a trusted friend who you know will intercept or pull you away from an uncomfortable situation. It could be a do not disturb, or my favorite feature, block, when you don't even want to engage with a person any longer. When you know that there's likely going to be someone or something that pushes your buttons, a proactive boundary is absolutely necessary to help you maintain your peace of mind and stay in control of the situation. Last but not least is the reactive or responsive boundary. This is put in place to protect yourself from reacting or responding to someone who tries to bait you with insults, criticism, or invasion of privacy. Now, if you are an introvert like I am, a social introvert that is, if you're an introvert, this is probably your go-to boundary anyway. It is a mentally rehearsed response. It's the type of boundary that is absolutely necessary when you are in a transition phase, such as a divorce, when you know that you're going to have to change the way that you interact with someone, but you also know that they're likely going to try to bait you with that old behavior or that old way that you used to respond. So having a mentally rehearsed response will keep you from having an emotional outburst or losing it. So these are the 4 types of boundaries: internal, external, proactive, and reactive. Now remember, these are going to take you a while to implement, but I suggest that you start with the internal boundary and work your way progressively day by day to implement them. As I mentioned before, setting healthy boundaries is the very last module in the Bounce Back Queen program because I know that it takes time. It's like dancing with someone for so long to a fast-paced song. And then all of a sudden you want to abruptly stop the dance. It's to be expected that the other person is going to look at you crazy like, what just happened? But it can be done if you give yourself permission to slowly back away. So I hope this has been very helpful for you today. And I'd be interested to know, which boundary do you think will be most difficult for you and how can I support you?